Hello and welcome to another live stream during Stream Week. We are just rolling every day this week. It's been a lot of fun. I see we have a lot of people from the Australia region today because today it's a lot later in the day than I normally stream, so it's actually a reasonable time for people there. So thank you all for joining. Thanks for being here. The plan for today, we're going to be talking about the AtomX Cast, which looks like this on my desk here, and I'll talk more about exactly what this is in a little bit. But before we get into that, I do want to do a couple of logistics about what we've got on the schedule for today, and also again as a reminder, we're going to do Q&A throughout this whole thing. So if you do have a question, start your message with a Q, and that will filter it on my screen so I can see it easier on my screen here. So before we get going with the Atomos, I do want to talk about the giveaways that are part of this week's series. The giveaway from yesterday's stream is wrapping up in just a few minutes. So if you haven't yet had a chance to enter it, you have a couple of, looks like 3 minutes left to sneak in some entries. So I will drop the link in the chat, and that is for my own personal little GLINet travel router, which I just have a couple extras because I've been buying so many of them, and I don't need them all anymore. So I'm gonna give one of these away to one lucky winner today, very shortly in just a few minutes, and then I want to talk about the giveaway for today's stream. So today's stream, we're gonna do a giveaway of I'm gonna drop the link in here for today's giveaway, which just opened up. So same idea for the giveaway, which is you have from today now until tomorrow's 5 minutes after tomorrow's stream, and that will so you can catch the replay and still have a chance to enter and all that. And I did just realize I've been doing so many of these that it's there's so many logistics to keep track of. It's challenging. We're gonna go and change the code from the secret code from yesterday's, so it's not the same code. And I'm gonna have to figure out where I'm gonna put that in the stream because I have not planned that one yet. Oh, and I just realized that link is wrong. So anyway, the somewhere in the AtomX live stream. There we go. So let me grab the link now that that's fixed. The link for that one is here. The giveaway for today is thanks to, Axel starting off with a super chat. Thank you. Okay, sure. Can you run a Blackmagic HyperDeck Pro into the YoloBox without the ATEM? Blackmagic HyperDeck Pro. That should work fine. Yeah, the Blackmagic, the HyperDeck Pro, let me just pull that up so we can see it on the screen here. The HyperDeck Pro is, where is it? Oh my gosh, there it is. So that is the, oh, they don't have them next to the pictures. That's not helpful. I think it's on the, I think it's on the specs page somewhere. Yeah, here we go. HyperDeck Pro. So, oh, this is okay. I was thinking of the Plus. I'm glad I double checked. I was thinking the Plus. You're talking about the Pro. So the question is, doesn't have HDMI out? Looks like it does. Because the YoloBox is obviously HDMI out, HDMI in only, no SDI. So you'll get one channel of HDMI out into the YoloBox, and it should work just fine. I don't expect there will be any issues. I haven't actually tried it myself, but the other HDMI devices at 1080 were not a problem into the YoloBox. So yes, that should work just fine. And yeah, okay, so the giveaway is for it is courtesy of the manufacturer of my ATEM Mini and YoloBox stands. So you may not know this, but in addition to the stands they make for me, they also have a whole line of stands for Raspberry Pis, which are very cute. They are mainly to mount a Raspberry Pi with something else. So like an SSD, or mount it to the back of something, or mount it with a little fan, or all sorts of little combinations of things. So pretty cool little pieces of gear here. And they wanted to also say thanks to everybody for joining the streams this week. And the giveaway is for one of these of your choice. So feel free to, if you're the winner, I'll ask for your shipping address and ask for which of these little cases that you want. So yeah, that is thanks to NX3D. And Axel clarified, no, sorry, the plus. Okay. Well, same idea, same idea. There's an HDMI out on the YoloBox Plus as well. And it is YoloBox Plus, HyperDeck Plus, that's the word. And yeah, there's same idea. It should work just fine. Ryan says, thanks that it's not 3 a.m. and we get to enjoy the stream. Yep. I'm glad you can make it. And I'm glad it's not 3 a.m. for you. Oh, and then Chris is saying, want to have it auto start with it using the YoloBox. So that won't happen. The YoloBox does not know how to talk to the HyperDeck. So you'll have to hit play on the HyperDeck in order to, or like a companion button or something. But that is, again, the reason that I really would like to see YoloBox add support for external control, like from Companion or a Stream Deck, so that you can make like a button that tells the HyperDeck to play and tells the YoloBox to switch to the input. And that way they don't have to worry about adding support for one-off devices like the HyperDeck. Studio AK says, I remember December is your birthday. It is, and I'm doing a stream on my birthday again this year, so that'll be next week. That one's already posted. Schedule's posted for that. It should be right after Photo Joseph's stream if he's doing a stream. I don't know if he's confirmed it for next week, but it'll be right after his time. What's your wish towards Blackmagic design for 2022? Well, okay, it's really simple. It's not complicated at this point. Everybody wants the new lineup of ATEM switchers. So I want a new rack mount switcher that has got all the features of the ATEM Mini Extreme in a rack mount form factor, kind of like a mini Constellation. No surprise there, I'm sure. And yes, the shiny jacket will make an appearance on the stream. Oh, and excellent. Thank you for joining from Thailand as well, where it is not 1 a.m. Lovely. Okay, so that's the info on the giveaway. I think we've run out the clock on yesterday's giveaway, so let's go ahead and draw the winner for this one before we continue. Finished giveaways ended. Excellent. We got a lot of people on this one. And the code was pretty hard to find, but I do see a bunch of you got it, so that's good. Okay, let's go ahead and draw the winners. And then I'm going to push it out to the little widget so that you can see. I'm going to make sure that the winner is not someone who is a spammer. No, it looks great. Okay, wonderful. Here we go. Where is the web page so I can show you on the screen? Oh my gosh. It's in the chat. Okay, here we go. The winner will be visible on the little widget as soon as I do this. The winner is... Oh, where did it go? Why didn't it push it out? Oh, Forgot to click one more button. One more time. False alarm. Here we go. And it's Patrick C. All right. So, Patrick, I will email you shortly. I still haven't actually emailed everybody else who won from the rest of the week. I'm waiting till tomorrow to do that. I will email you and ask you for your shipping address. And then I will send this out to you. And hopefully you enjoy it. Hopefully you can use it. Thank you all for playing. All right. So, with that out of the way, let's move on. So, the main topic of today is the AtomX Cast. That is this little interesting contraption, and this is, they were nice enough to lend this out to me to take a look at on the stream, and including the Ninja V. So, let me first explain what this is and sort of how it works, and then we're going to go through as many of the features as we possibly can on this. And if you do have questions, feel free to drop in questions in the chat and start with the letter Q. So, what is this? This is an interesting one. Now, I will say that most of the devices I've been focusing on this week are what I would call like complete streaming solutions, where they do have a streaming encoder built in and can push to YouTube. This one is an exception. I decided to include this in the lineup anyway, because even though, so this does not have a streaming encoder built in. It is an HDMI switcher and a recorder, but it does HDMI out and USB out. And so that means in order to actually live stream with this, you have to output this into something. So that could be OBS on a laptop. It could be HDMI out into a web presenter or some other streaming device. So I made an exception for this one because I've been getting a lot of questions about it. A lot of people are asking about this because it is pretty new, and they did send this over so that like rushed it over to me so that I could actually take a look at it for this week. Actually, this one actually came from Photo Joseph. He had it last, and I don't know where I'm sending it off to next, but he actually had it last and got the shipping label to return it, and then turns out the shipping label was to me, so that was convenient. But yeah, okay, what is this? We're going to talk about the sort of summary of the device. We're going to talk about the inputs and outputs on the device. We're going to talk about how you control it, like what buttons you press to do switching and other capabilities of it. We'll cover audio features. We'll cover the graphics capabilities that are in this, because it does have some. And anything else that we can find as we are exploring through the menus on the device. Okay. So let's start with the inputs and outputs and like sort of physical overview of the device. There's two parts to this device, first of all. There is the Ninja V on top, which is their SSD recorder that's been out for a long time. This one has the two HDMI ports on the side, so input and output. And this piece attaches to this bottom part. This bottom part it looks like that, and it's a sort of wedge shape, and that's where all the ports are on the back. So the bottom part gives you 4 HDMI inputs, an HDMI out, and a USB out, and then power. And that's what the little bottom bit adds. And then, so you can plug in 4 sources, whether that's cameras or a computer. You can see I've got my computer in here, and I've got my same cameras plugged into this that are also on the stream. So I've got my main camera here is routed into it. I've got the overhead camera that's showing up in itself. I've also got this side angle in here, and then my computer screen as well. So we'll play around with seeing what we can do on here, and then for outputting, because I want you to be able to see what is going on here. I will be able to show you, of course, the top-down camera, which is showing you the screen here, but there are 2 outputs. So there's the output of the Cast device itself, and there's also the output of the Ninja V. And those can actually do two different things. So I have both of those routed into my ATEM Mini that's streaming, so that I can show you the outputs of both of them. So this box is showing the output of the Cast, and then this box is showing the output of the Ninja V. And we'll go through the settings so you can see what those are, and I can full screen those too. So just give you a quick sense of it. This is what it looks like when you're just looking at the main output. And now as I am using the buttons on here, for example, I can switch on the Cast to show you the different angles. However, if we want to take a look at the output of the Ninja itself, it's this. So well, I've got it set into multi-view mode right now, but again, we'll go through the options there for what you can do. So I'll be able to show you these outputs as well. So that's the sort of inputs and outputs. I didn't have any trouble plugging in anything into it, really. Like everything that I tried to connect to it worked fine. And that was actually a nice relief compared to some other devices that I have tested are sometimes finicky about the inputs or the outputs. I did not match my camera's frame rates to anything. I didn't really think about it, so I guess it is doing some sort of frame rate conversion internally, because I know at least one of my cameras is in 60 frames per second, and my computer screen is probably also at 60. So it's handling that. I didn't think about it, so I didn't have any trouble, which is nice. The okay, so that's inputs and outputs, and then audio. There's also audio. So on the side, it is part of the Ninja device, not the Cast. On the side, there's a mic in and a headphone out. I don't know what the remote out is for. Maybe it's for controlling cameras or something. But yeah, there's the input and output, and I've got a Rode Wireless Go plugged in to the input so we can test out an external audio as well. So that is the quick overview of connecting everything. The input on here is not active when it's attached to the Cast. So there is another HDMI input on the Ninja itself that doesn't do anything once it's connected. Okay. So let's talk quickly about what else you need in order to use this. I've been trying to include that category in this series as well. Like I mentioned at the beginning, this is not a live streaming device. It is a switcher and recorder. So if you want to stream with this, you'll need some external piece of hardware of some sort. So there is a USB-C out, which is a webcam out, and that I've got running into this computer here so that I can, it's actually in Zoom right now, but I could pull it into OBS to do streaming as well. And that's just plugged into this little laptop here. And then the other output is the main HDMI out on there, which is for where you could run that into a streaming encoder like a Blackmagic web presenter. So that's what you would need in order to actually use it. But other than that, you do control everything by touching the screen as well as the buttons here. And you don't need any other devices other than a streaming encoder for it. And if you don't care about streaming, you just care about recording, then this is the complete package. So, okay, let's talk about control. So how do you actually interact with this device? We're going to go through all the different options for controlling this now. So the screen is a touch screen, and then there's also these buttons here. Honestly, it's a little bit, it took me a little while to get used to how this works. So there are these on the screen. You can see it's got, yeah, I can't show you. So what's interesting is that I can't output the actual picture that the Ninja itself is showing on the stream. I can only video it. So hopefully you can see this. The outputs are, I can output the multi-view to the stream. Like I can show you the multi-view of all four inputs, but I can't actually output this cleanly on the stream. So hopefully you can see these little icons. I had to switch my lens up so that that we get a bigger shot, close-up shot here. So these little F numbers, F1, F2, F3, F4, they correspond to these buttons down here. It's kind of hiding, but there's an F1 button down there. And if I press on the F1 button, you'll notice that it changes here as well. So F1, F2, F3, and F4. What this does is it basically changes what these buttons do. So if I have F4 selected, that means I'm in the switcher mode. And now as I press the buttons, it is switching camera angles. And you can't see it because, well, you can see the icons in the middle are changing. Those are the tally lights. So it's showing you which is active. And over here, it's changing the program. So you can see that the program output is changing when I'm pressing the buttons here. So the other way to change the program output is by tapping on the screen. So right now it's in a mode where you tap once and it will cut immediately. There's if you press it and it's green, that goes into this preview mode. So now when I press on a number, it's going to turn green, which indicates that it's in this preview mode rather than cut. So notice that the 2 is green and the little tally on the screen is also green. And if I can press these and they're going into preview mode, not cutting. And if I press it twice, it cuts. So I'll show you this view. And you can watch my computer screen, which is the zoom output, or that one is the HDMI output. So if I tap on number 1, it doesn't do anything until I tap it again and it turns red and then it cuts. So if you want it in preview mode, you can do that. The reason you may want to do that is because you can actually change what goes out of the HDMI. So I'm kind of jumping ahead here, but I do want to show you this. So in the menu here, there's a lot of settings here. We're going to go through all of them in a bit, but I do want to just talk about the option for the HDMI out. The cast out is always a program, and the USB is always program. And it's showing us here that it's outputting program on both of those. But notice here on the Ninja V out, there's the little arrow. This is something you need to get used to when you're using this, this is how they indicate that there is an option that you can choose. So when there's that little arrow next to a word, that means you can tap it. And then it changes what that does. So we're toggling between program, preview, or multi-view. And then also notice at the top, it says monitor out, multi-view, program, or preview. So what that does, I'm going to show you the output of this right now. So we're going to go to program, and I'm going to actually cut to this HDMI out is now what you're seeing on the stream. So when I'm tapping on the screen here, let's see, I can actually let's switch to that one as the program. So I'm using the cast to change the program. I'm going to tap on the screen and change what's going out of that HDMI port to now be the preview. So in the preview mode, let's see, I'm going to switch off of the cast and just show you my room here. Remember, that is the Ninja V out. That one is the ATEM out, the program out. In fact, why don't I just pop over to my multi-view so you can see the whole thing. So the one that says AtomX is the Atom's HDMI port. The one that says Ninja V down on the bottom right is the preview now. So now as I'm tapping these buttons, I'm pressing number 2 and it switches to the preview switch, but the program did not. And if I tap 2 again, it switches to the program. So that's the preview and then cut. Preview and then cut. Preview and then cut. So you get the idea there. That's if you want the HDMI out to be the preview. Then there's also the multi-view where it's the 4-up display. And I'm going to show you the multi-view. This is what I would see on my screen here. It is not the same as the display on the device. It is a 4-up view, and there's no icons, and there's no interface on it. So that's very, very different from even the multi-view of the Blackmagic ATEM Mini, for example, where it has labels and like audio indicators. There's none of that, and I don't see any options for any of that either. So the multi-view is just the the 4 inputs. There's also no border like you would get on the ATEM Mini that shows you whether it's like on the air, for example. So there is no indication in the multi-view about whether a particular input is currently active or not. You have to look at the device in order to see that. Okay, so back to here. That's what I want to talk about the HDMI out and the multi-view options. So, okay. Switching. I personally don't think I would use the preview mode, so I'm going to press that again until it turns red. And now it's in cut mode, and now as I press the buttons, it immediately cuts. And I feel like that's also easier to explain to somebody else who you might be handing this off to. So you can either tap the screen to choose which one, or you can just tap a button. Okay, that's F4. And I think that's probably what you would have this on for most of the time as you're using it, because that is probably most of what you're doing is cutting between cameras during a show. If you press F3, that goes into this overlay menu. Now, these buttons now do something totally different. These buttons are now activating your overlays. And it works the same way, or it doesn't. It does not work the same way as the switcher one, where this confused me a lot when I was testing this earlier. Notice how it's green. That means the overlay is on preview, and I don't have a view of the preview right now because all I'm seeing is this screen, and I'm seeing the multi-view. So it looks like nothing is happening as I'm doing this. So I was really confused about what's going on, and it turns out that green means preview, which I should have realized, and that means the graphic is on preview, which I can't see. So to fix that, let me go and switch the output back to preview out. That way we can actually see what's going on here. So I'm now realizing that I need a layout so I can show you preview and program at the same time. So we're going to take a short interlude here to build that layout with my SuperSource. And we're going to make a side-by-side of, yeah, we're going to do side-by-side. Maybe I need also the overhead view. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do a top-down view so you can see the buttons, and then program and preview HDMI. And that way we can see everything that's going on. So you get to see behind the scenes of how I do this now. We're going to go, let's go ahead and this is the SuperSource layout of the ATEM, which I'm going to be messing with. So it's going to be changing as I'm doing this. I want box 1, which is me. I actually don't want me in the shot. I want the overhead view in the shot. So we're going to go and say it's the overhead. And I want that one actually to be quite a lot bigger and not cropped, because I want this one to be the main shot that you're looking at. So we're going to go like that. Okay, maybe we are going to crop the bottom a little bit, so I don't need that much on the bottom. So we're going to go up like that. Oh, it's not straight. There we go. And then I want box 2 to be the, let's do preview on the left. So box 2 will be the Ninja out. And I'm going to switch it into multi-view right now so we can tell which is which. And then we're going to shrink that down to like 0.3 and scoot it over here. Maybe a little bit bigger. Let's go to 0.4. And then we're going to go box 3 is, yeah, the AtomX. It's also going to be 0.4. And then we're going to match it to box 2. So negative 4.5. And then we're going to scoot it over here. So this is better. Now you'll be able to see as I am doing stuff affecting the preview and program. Only thing I wish I had now was labels for it. So we're going to add labels, add graphics to this as well. The way I'm going to do that is by capturing this and then exporting the media pool and make a graphic in Photoshop really quick. And I only want to save the media pool. Then I can go grab where is my folder that I saved that in? It should be called capture something. Oops, graphics. Sorry, you can't really see my computer screen anymore because it's so small. Okay, I'll cut over to my computer screen while I build this graphic. So this is a capture of a still frame I just grabbed. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add text down here. So this is the AtomX HDMI output. And then over here is the Ninja V HDMI output. And then I don't want that background layer, and I'm going to export this into the ATEM, into the switcher media pool. We're going to call it preview program overlay and save it in a different slot like 15. And now if I go back to my SuperSource, what I can do is I can drag that into my media player and set it to one of the downstream keys. Look at that. Okay, so now I need to save all this so I can get back to it. You're getting the whole rundown of how I do these graphics. Also behind the scenes, Ryan, I have decided that you are getting moderator privileges. Please, if you see anybody posting the random junk that's like it's like a couple of letters and then like a fake dot and like a domain name. It's like trying to hide a domain name. Just hide the user from the channel and get rid of it all. And don't worry about like acknowledging them. It's just spammers driving by for some reason. Okay. So I've got that. I need to make a button for this to restore this layout. I'm going to reuse my buttons I did in Companion. So the way I'm going to do this is I have to copy settings from the... This is something I should be using Mix Effect for, to write a macro for this, but I don't have that set up well enough right now. So we're going to recreate it in Companion. So I'm going to steal this button, and we're going to call it AtomX Preview Program. And then we're going to set a bunch of actions in here. So box 1 is on air, box 2 and box 3 are on air, box 4 is off. Great. Box 1 source is overhead. Box 2 source is Ninja V out. Box 3 source is AtomX out. Great. Now we set all the positions. So box 1 position is, let's see if I can leave that on the screen. There we go. Box 1 position or size is 0.63, X is 0, Y is 4.4. We do want to crop, we want to crop the bottom 2 and left and right are 0. Great. Box 2 is set to size 0.4, X is negative 7.89, Y is negative 4.5, and no crop. Great. Box 3 is set to 0.4, X is 7.5, Y is negative 4.5, and no crop. And then we're going to set the program after 50 milliseconds to the SuperSource. Basically what this means is that I should now be able to jump between this layout and this layout. Oh, I need to remind myself about that downstream key. So I don't want the downstream key on this button anymore. So we're going to add a new action, DSK, set off air, and then get rid of that. And then when I press this one, we're going to set DSK on air. And now we get the labels back. And I can cut to the overhead. Oh, I need to add. I think I need to go back and add an action, a trigger to remove the DSK from everything. So when I cut to anything else, I want it to remove the DSK. So I'm just going to put all these back on, except for SuperSource. So now when I go between this, nope. Oh, darn! It ran that. The triggers are not quite right. That's a bummer. So I have to remember to cut to the table if I want to get rid of the overlays. Overlays off, overlays on, overlays off. Okay, that'll work. Not ideal, but it works. So, okay. Back to the demo. What I wanted to show you was the different ways that the HDMI output can be used with graphics. So I'm again going to go back here and change the output to preview, because when I'm in, again, I've pressed F3, so the overlay tab is active. Now this is changing the graphics. So these are things I've already set up ahead of time. And again, I tap it once to move it into preview, and then I will hold it down for a second to bring it on air. That confused me. So preview, hold it down for a second, and now it's on air. Preview, hold it down for a second, then it's on air. So that is how the graphic switching works. So let's talk about actually building graphics though, because there's a lot going on in that little menu too. So we'll show you the full-size overhead view. Anytime you want to change stuff, you're going to want to use this little settings icon in the bottom, very bottom right corner. That's your settings. So the settings menu looks like this. You've got input settings, you've got output settings, overlays, and then it scrolls across the top too, and there's a whole bunch more. We'll get to all of those. There's a lot in there. So, oh, I didn't even see the source one before. Okay. AtomX SDI. I wonder if that's a new thing. There is no SDI on here. But right now we're talking about graphics. So, graphics. This is the limited capabilities that this has for graphics are essentially you can load 8 images and then you can create 4 scenes. So kind of think of it that way, where you've got 8 files that can be loaded in. You have 4 presets of where you want, like, scenes, essentially. Any of the graphics can be assigned to any of the scenes, and they can be assigned in any of these 7 places. So it's not completely flexible. You can't do everything with it. You are very limited to what you can do. But essentially, it's for corner things or top or bottom banners or, like, center graphics. Couple other limits of the graphics, which I was encountering as I was creating graphics for this. So let's tap slot 6. You can see there's nothing loaded. That's why it's not filled in. Tap browse. And this is showing me files that are on the SSD. I guess I forgot to mention that, of course, this is the AtomX. And that means there is an SSD in here that I have installed for recording. And this little handle is actually part of the cast kit, and it screws onto their SSDs. That way you can actually reach it and pull it out if you want. So I've already, what I did ahead of time was pulled out the SSD, I actually had a I'm already on the overhead. I had this adapter for other things. Where's my focus? This is just a little USB SATA adapter. So because it is a regular drive, you can just plug this in. You don't have to use the Ninja one. They make their own too, or the Atomos one. But I just had this already, so I was plugging in the drive into my computer with that, and then a USB-C adapter for it. And that way I could load graphics into the drive. So that is what I did earlier, is I exported a bunch of files. And then I realized some limits. It only supports PNGs. It actually says that right here, add media, parentheses, .png. It only supports PNGs. There's a bunch of JPEGs on this file, on this drive, and they are not showing up in this list. So only supports PNGs and only up to a certain size. So let's see, I think, yeah, I made a thumbnail, like PNG version of the thumbnail for this show. So if I tap it, also again, single tap doesn't do anything. You have to tap it again in order to select it, which tripped me up earlier. And then this one says failed to load. The selected image is too large for overlays. Image dimensions must not exceed 1920 by 1080. Image size must not exceed 1 megabyte. So those are your limits. It's not meant for full screen graphics, is my takeaway from that. It's meant for corner logos and lower thirds and things like that. So I have a couple of other graphics on here that I've already loaded up into the various media slots. So media slot 1 has a lower third. Media slot 2 has a little header banner. Media slot 3 has a small version of my channel banner. 4 has my profile photo at 200 pixels square, and 5 has my profile photo at 100 pixels square, because I was curious, does it actually resize things, or are you just sort of fixed to the dimensions? So I've got 5 graphics loaded in the 8 available slots, and I have nothing in the other 3, so I've got 3 more I could add. And then you get 4 scenes. So what we can do is we can choose which media appears in which location. So 1 is my lower third, and I've got 1 in this corner. What was number 2? Header banner. So we can put the header banner up in the top center. This was also a very confusing thing. Do you see how long that took? Watch, I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna take it out. I'm gonna tap the top corner. See if you can see when I tap it. Waiting. And there it goes. It took me a while to realize that delay was normal, and that it was actually working. And I was just like tapping it over and over again. It wasn't doing anything, and then it would freak out. So you have to just let it do its thing. So we've got a graphic in the top. We can put the small channel banner down in the bottom right corner, for example. And again, I'm going to wait. Okay, there it goes. This is going to be a complete chaos, but we're just experimenting to see what we can do. And then let's put the profile photo in the bottom center. So, okay, that's scene number 1. Scene number 2, let's make this a little bit more realistic. Scene number 2, we've got the graphic number 2, that was my header banner, so that's the one that is over the map at the beginning. Scene number 3 puts the small channel banner in the top right corner. Let's also add my small face in the bottom left corner. Interesting. Notice how quickly that one appeared when I tapped. But I have a feeling that the 200 pixel version will be a little bit more delayed. Yep. And then a larger graphic is more delayed. I think what it's doing is I think it's actually copying the pixels into memory. Oh, I can't have it in 2 places. That's what's going on. There we go. So that one's reasonably fast. Channel header banner was slow. Yeah. So that was a much bigger graphic, so it takes longer to load. So I think what it's doing is it's copying that data, and because of that, the larger the image, the longer it takes to copy. Also, the reason I think that is because I pulled out the drive to add new graphics, not realizing that there were already graphics on the screen, and they stayed on the screen. So that's cool. Okay, scene 3 has a channel banner on the top right, small face in the bottom left. Scene number 4 has a profile photo, large version in that corner, and then let's do the lower third in the bottom left. So, okay, 4 presets, and now that those are created, I can go and actually show them. So I've pressed F3 to get into the graphics mode, or press the F3 overlays tab here. And now as I tap these scenes, it's loading the scenes we created before. So scene number 4 was the photo, where's my finger? Photo down here, lower third over there. Scene number 3 was just the banner in the top right. Scene number 2 was the tall banner. Scene number 1 was the chaos of everything on all over the place. Those are not on the program out. Remember, the AtomX HDMI out is the preview. Program out is over on the right. So if I wanted to show it on the stream, I would actually have to hold this down, and then it enables. So I can preview it, I can hold it down, and there it goes. Preview it, and then hold it down for a second, and then there it goes. So, okay, that's the graphics tab, and I think I covered all of the graphics features. Yep, cool. Let's pop out of this and see what we've got for questions in the chat before we continue on. Joseph says, I'm late to the party, but I'm anxious to see what you think. Ah, excellent. Thanks for joining. Yeah, thanks for sending forwarding this to me. So, that UI is so small. I think I have fat fingers for that. It is very small. It is a 5-inch screen, and I will say it is very small to tap these little buttons. So like these little buttons over here do things too. So it's it is a little bit. It does require a gentle touch. Yes, the shirt arrived at home the day that you were here at the studio, so I did not get to wear it when we were streaming on Monday. But yeah, had decided to have fun with that for this series. Okay, I don't see any other questions about this right now. So, oh, Chris S says it'd be great if it had ISO recording, but I don't think so at this time. No, it records just the program feed onto the drive. So, all right, graphics. So that's it for graphics. Let's talk about audio. So moving on to the audio tab, F2. I also feel like it's like backwards. Like I feel like the switcher should be the main one and the rest should be like later on, but whatever. Okay, F2 audio. When you're on the audio tab, these buttons now do something different. These now, see the little microphone icon there? It's kind of hard to see. It's very small. But there's a little microphone next to each of the squares, each of the input indicators. The microphone moves around as I tap these buttons, showing me which audio source is live. And that is not particularly useful in my opinion, because most of the time I'm going to have audio mixed externally and brought in through the line input, or I'm going to be doing audio follows video, which you can do. If you tap the one that's active again, it turns, the red goes away, and now it's blue. And blue indicates auto switching. And notice that the microphone icon also changed to blue. So now if I go back to the switcher tab, watch that little microphone icon in the middle. As I switch camera angles, the audio is following the camera angle. So that is how to switch. That's how, if you want your audio to be matching the camera angle that you're on, then you can just do the auto cut. Again, I usually don't have mine set up that way, so usually I'm going to be mixing audio totally separately or just using a lav mic for a simple setup, which battery is running low, so we better test this out before the battery dies. So the other audio settings are available in the menu. Oh, Darren, thank you for the super chat. Thanks for doing all this fantastic groundwork for your community. Got to do some chores, but wanted to show support. Catch you on the next one. Thanks for joining, and thanks for the super chat. And you can always catch us later because this live stream is staying up online, so you can tune in again later. Okay. So in the audio settings, again, you have to kind of scroll across the top here to get to the other menu options. There's audio, and then there's mic and line. Two different tabs for audio settings. So this is the other way to change between, or do you want your audio coming from HDMIs? Do you want the audio to follow, or do you want the mic or line input? And you can only have one of them selected. I can't turn on audio from multiple cameras, and I can't turn on audio from mic as well as a camera. There is, however, this little headphone icon. I guess it's showing me what's going on the headphone jack, and it's matching. It's matching the whatever's on the program. Audio question: can you get more audio inputs? Each camera can have a Rode Wireless 2 on it. Yes, but again, you can't enable multiple audio channels. So you could have 2 channels coming into each of these with the Rode Wireless Go 2, for example, but you can only switch between them in pairs. So the way I would realistically probably use this is either run all of my audio into in one camera, like I connect this to a camera and all my audio is in there and it's just fixed there, not set to auto follow, or I would plug this in like I have here where it's plugged into the line input. So we're going to go to that one, and then the mic line input tab is the other setting. This is where you get to choose things like, do you want mic level or line level? And again, see that little chevron is how you can switch between the options. So when you see that, you can tap it and change between line level and mic level. I've got this is set to mic level because it's got the Rode Wireless Go 2. And then you can also adjust the gain between the left and right channels. I only have one connected, so they're in sync. You do have audio delay feature. However, there is a really weird thing that happens. And I'm going to actually demonstrate this. I'm going to put on headphones so I can see or hear what's going on. I'm going to switch what you are seeing in the stream to come from the Atom itself. So I'm going to switch both audio and video, which means you're going to be hearing me through this. So I should probably put this closer to me. So this is the output of the Atom Cast. I've got my crazy graphics, so let's go ahead and switch to something a little bit less crazy. This one. So this is coming out of the Atom Cast. The audio. Now we're hearing the audio from the Rode rather than my overhead mic. So this should be in sync, hopefully, because the camera that I'm using, this camera doesn't really have an HDMI delay, and the Rode doesn't either. So these should be in sync now. It was probably out of sync when I was on the other mic, just a few frames. But you're now seeing the live feed from the Atom Cast, and I wanted to, oh yeah, I need the headphones on still because I wanted to show you this frame delay weird thing. So I'm going to switch over to the overhead view. It hopefully won't be too loud, but it is going to be a bit jarring. So turn down your volume right now if you have your volume up really high. I'm going to adjust the frame delay live. And here's 1 frame. Now here's 2 frames. I don't know what this is. It's a little bit of, it's chaos. Total chaos. It only happens on the even numbers. There's 2 frames, 3 frames is clear, 4 frames is a disaster, 5 frames is fine, 6 is a disaster, 7 is fine. However, if you, let me switch back to this layout. I'm going to press this. I didn't actually talk about this yet. There's this button up here called Live. And of course, the audio cuts out when I do that too. So if you tap Live, the program out goes away. Right? You can see the preview is still on, but the program drops out. The audio also cuts out. Basically what this means is never ever change the audio delay while you are live. So here's some chaos. And I can bring it back and it's fine. So it does support even number delays. You just can't change to it while you're live. And I can bring it back on the air and it sounds fine with 4 frames delay. So super weird. Okay, so we're going to cut that chaos out and go back to the other audio. Back to my studio audio. Yeah, it was a little bit low, I was noticing, and I could probably stand to turn up the gain on here a little bit. So, I think that's it for the audio features, actually. Was there any other? Yeah, because we've got the gain features. You can see the levels are here, and then the audio delay. So it's cool that it does support audio delay. Hopefully they fix that little bug in the future because it's kind of bizarre. Okay, so done with that. Now I don't care if the battery on that dies. What's next? We talked about audio. Let's talk about the last of the tabs, which is picture-in-picture. So F1 is picture-in-picture, and that is, again, now these buttons are going to do something different. So these buttons now affect the picture-in-picture settings. Before we do that, we have to go in and look at the picture-in-picture options. So there's picture-in-picture off or on. Notice that the button changed. There's not a super lot of options here. There are some options. Basically, you get to choose size, small or large. And you get to change the picture-in-picture input to one of the sources and the location. So let me first turn off the graphics. Get that out of there. Go back to picture-in-picture. And let's set large picture-in-picture top right corner to be input 4, which is the overhead camera. So now that that is set, it's not on yet, but we can get out of here. And if I press F1 to go into the picture-in-picture, oh, I need to show you everything. So, okay, we've got the HDMI out and preview out, but they're showing the same thing. So I can turn it on and off basically by pressing one of the buttons. So if I press 3, 3 goes into that spot. If I press 4, 4 goes into that spot. I can't do picture-in-picture with itself, which is interesting. So 3, I tap it once to show it, tap it again to hide it. If this is a cool thing, I think this is well done. If I have a picture-in-picture showing, let's say top-down, and then if I actually cut to the top-down angle, so watch what happens as I'm switching cameras. I'm going to switch to my computer screen, picture-in-picture stays. I switch to that, picture-in-picture stays. My head's cut off. But if I switch to the top-down camera, which is the one in the picture-in-picture, it actually changes to be to that angle, and the picture-in-picture goes away. Interestingly, it also brought my graphics back, I think because they were in the preview out. So, and because I had the picture-in-picture on when I cut to that, I can now go back and forth between full screen, picture-in-picture with just one button press. So this is kind of useful because you can be like, you don't have to press a whole bunch of buttons to do all those actions all in a row once it's set up this way. I think that's a nice touch. So I can switch between the different sources with the picture-in-picture up there or cut to full screen. But yeah, the picture-in-picture settings are which corner do you want it in? How big do you want it? Oh, and there is opacity. So I can drag that down and then we can see what that looks like. So I should be able to go back and there it's showing up partially transparent in that corner now. And smaller. And of course it cuts back to full if I cut over to that camera. Okay, and then if I want to turn it off, I can go back into the picture-in-picture. Let's see, how do I turn it off? Press the yellow button, and that gets rid of it. Yeah. And now I can do regular camera cuts, and it's not showing up. Excellent. That is picture-in-picture. Other questions here. Did I install the new firmware release today? I did not. I installed it. It made, when I plugged this in, it made me, it like force updated the cast from this, but I didn't go look for new firmware. Maybe we can do that live after we go through the rest of these features and then see what changed. Okay. Switcher, overlays, audio, picture-in-picture. Let's talk about the rest of the buttons on this part before we dive into the menus. So there's a couple other buttons on here. We've been tapping this bottom right corner, which is jumps into the settings. There's also the record button, which is actually, again, how you're going to record to the drive. That now has a recording on the drive of those couple seconds. Then there's this little one with the 4 squares. That switches what you see here to be multi-view or program. So if you want to see the program full screen for whatever reason, then you can tap that. And now as I'm cutting, it'll show you full screen. And then there is fade in and fade out. So, oh, I need to show you the angle where you can actually see this. So this is the USB output, and then that's the, or that one's the program output. So if I tap the fade out button, those turn to black. Preview is still active. That one's the preview down there. And then fade in, fade out. And then live is of course the other way to stop it completely. One of the other options you have is, where is it? It's in the switcher. Yeah. So switcher settings, right? Settings, switcher tab. This is where you get to control how you want the switcher to work. So I've got, again, that little chevron means it's tappable. So right now, switch with one touch. It's also kind of backwards. Like switch with is the, one touch is the option. Switch with is the menu. So I've got it set to one touch, which means you tap on this on the picture once and it cuts to it. Ninja HDMI out is preview. I'm going to switch that back to multi-view because I like that a little better. Fade to color. You can either fade to black or white. So now if I do the fade out, you can see it fades not to black but to white. And then live also just cuts to white. And then also in here we've got transitions. So you can have the transition dip to a color or none. And do we get to change the color? Let's find out. So we'll show you this, and if I cut, it's dipping to white, which I'm assuming is matching that color. Yeah. So not super useful. It doesn't do crossfade. So you do get to change the duration. Oops, if I turn it on, dip to color, you can change the duration of the fade, but you can't do a crossfade, it looks like. So I would leave that on no transition. And then do you want to record clean or the cast program? Ooh, what is the difference? That one I'm not sure about, actually. Cast program or clean. We might have to experiment with that and look at what shows up on the drive. And then, okay, let's keep going through the menus here while we're here. So I'm going to show you just the close-up here. Input is, I don't see any chevrons, so none of these are options. This is just showing me the status. Oh yeah, look at all the different frame rates. Input 1 is 2997. Input 2 is 60p, which is my computer screen. Input 3 is a different camera at 2997, and the 4 overhead is 5994. And it was able to handle all those just fine. Output, we looked at the output menu already. It's showing what's going to USB-C and the cast out, as well as the Ninja V out, and that's the one you can change between program preview and multi-view. We talked about overlays. We talked about picture-in-picture. We talked about the switcher menu. And we've got the record menu. This is where you can choose what setting you want to record. And this is, I think, the main reason that you would ever want to get this device over any of the other similar switchers, is that this thing is going to give you the best recording out of any of the other options. So compared to the ATEM Mini Pro will record to a USB drive or a solid state drive. It's recording an H.264 compressed file. Even at the highest quality, it'll be a 70 megabit H.264 file. The YoloBox is going to record a compressed H.264 as well. This one will record a ProRes file or DNxHD. And I think you can actually unlock other formats as well. There was H.265, if you want to, is an option you can unlock if you pay for that upgrade. So this is going to give you the best quality recording out of anything that is whacking the table and shaking my overhead camera. This is going to give you the best quality recordings by far. With ProRes, you can choose the compression, so what style do you want, and it tells you how much space is remaining, which is nice. I don't know what I would probably use. Maybe the default. And then I believe, why is the frame rate locked to 2997? I'm not actually sure why the input is locked to 2997. Because that one, I don't know if you can tell, but see how the chevron is brighter there than it is here? So I can't change it. Oh, maybe it's because I'm live. If I turn it off, no, I can't change it still. Interesting. If anybody knows, let me know. One cool thing is pre-roll. Can I turn on the pre-roll? Why can't I enable that switch? This is also one of the things I don't like about touchscreens, is that you can't tell if you missed it or if it just didn't respond, or if it's, I don't know. Yeah, so I don't know why I can't turn on pre-roll. Maybe it's in different formats. Record, can I turn on pre-roll now? Nope. Can I change it if I'm in that format? Oh, the whole thing rebooted because I changed formats. That was unexpected. Let's wait for this thing to reboot. There we go. So, good to know. Record format ProRes. Is it going to reboot? It is. I don't know if you can hear it, but the fan, there is a fan and it turns on while it's booting, but it isn't it like goes away once it's running, which is nice. My Zoom lost the USB webcam when it rebooted too, which is nice. Okay, we're back. Whoops. But 4 is freaking out. That's my fault, I think. Okay, so that's the record tab. We found some interesting features there. James says, I think the output frame rate is linked to input 1. That would make sense. And the input 1 is, it says primary input. And let's see, if it's not on the program, it's still, yeah, it's the same. So, oh yeah, look at that. Project rate 2997 matches the primary input. So cool, thanks for that. Continuing on, time code. This is not the correct time. I don't know how it got that. Time of day. I don't know why it thinks that's the time of day. Maybe it's, oh, there's a date tab. So we could set the clock properly. What time is it? It's 4:11. And it is December 23rd. Okay. And then the time code should match. Yep, great. HDMI out time code. Maybe if it's not live, can I enable it? Nope. Interesting that some of these switches don't seem to be functional. File. What is the file tab? This is choosing how to name your files. So do I want a letter? Do I want to increase the scene? I guess this is useful if you are doing bigger coordinating with other recorders, I would say. I don't really care about the file names. I usually record. I just, whatever. They end up dated on the drive, and that's how I pull them up. We looked at the audio tab already. We looked at the mic line tab already. Media tells you about the drive, and there's a big scary format button, which will erase the drive. We just set the date. Power is telling us, hold power button down, which is on the Ninja, not the Cast. Hold it down to power it off. I don't know why it says there's a 12-volt battery, because it is not on battery. It is plugged into the wall. There does not seem to be a way to attach a battery once you've put this in the Cast. So it's only wall power. The activation tab is where you can activate H.265. I assume it's paid. I didn't actually try this because I assume it was a paid upgrade, but let's find out what happens if I go to this URL. It is making me log in. I'm not going to do that right now. So that pairs it with the device. AtomX telling me what version it's on. Maybe we can go upgrade the firmware. And the factory, big scary factory reset button. Get out of the menu. Cool. The play button will play back recordings from the drive. So if I show you this, if I turn off the live button, then the picture goes away. And if I switch into playback mode, what you didn't really see is the device actually like rebooted or power cycled rather. Power cycled, and now or not a full power cycle, but it like reset. The Cast is also off. So this is like, it deactivated the Cast, and now I'm just using this, which also means the output of the Cast, HDMI out of the Cast is gone, and it's not showing anything. So this one, the Ninja out, is now the output. So you can see it's updating as I scroll and playing back the file. And now it's just like the regular Ninja, or regular Ninja V. So we can get out of that, go back into record mode, and then it turns the Cast back on. Come on. Hello. There we go. Okay. And once we're live, we can then hit record and record the program. All right. I think that's it. I think that covers it. Any other questions? Frederick says, I think clean is without overlays. Oh, like without the graphics? Yep, that would make sense. Okay, what else? I saw some other comments in here I know. Oh, here's one. With all the great low-cost streaming units, HDMI switchers out there, what void does this unit fill? So it's not cheap. You have to have the Ninja V, which is the top part, and then you buy the Cast, which is the add-on. It is not a cheap combination by any means. However, I think the void this fills is that it is going to give you the best quality recordings by far because you can record ProRes on this. The alternative to that would be using an ATEM Mini with the HDMI out going into a Blackmagic recorder, which is about the same price point. Yeah, about the same price point, and you don't get multi-view then because your HDMI out is being used up for the recording. So if you want the super high quality recordings, this is definitely what you. This is how to get it. MT says, is there a slight delay on both HDMI outputs, maybe a frame or two? I do think so. So if we go and... Oh, I can't actually compare because I ran out of wires in my studio. Believe it or not. I ran out of wires. And in order to show you the output of the Ninja, which is that box, that's actually going over a wireless connection. So when I'm showing you this, what you're seeing in the bottom left is actually a wireless connection. So we've got wireless delay there. So if you look at my hands, it's very, very close. Very close. It's probably too hard to see. But there's like, you know, whatever is the 2-frame delay of the Cine transmitter on the left one. So I can't actually compare the HDMI delays here. You can see my other camera delay, though, is dramatic. Now, that's just that Lumix G7's fault. What other questions? Oh, this is a good point. This is better in a studio setting because I like being able to see the other videos without any delay. So that is one of the downsides of the YoloBox is that the multi-view is like a approximation. So if you go back to my YoloBox demo video and you look at anytime I show the multi-view of it, the other videos that are not on program are like 3 frames a second. It's like, to give you an idea of what it is, it's not meant to actually see it in real time. However, this one does show the full, this is the multi-view of this device, and it's showing you everything in real time immediately. Again, my Lumix camera, that one is way slower compared to the Blackmagic camera, so that's why there's a delay between those two. But what I'm seeing on the multi-view as well as on the screen here, these are all exactly real-time feeds, no frame delays or partial frame rates. Question, can you fade out to a graphic for the ending? I don't think so. So, again, when I was looking at the graphics in here, so if we go into the graphics menu, again, the limit is 1920 by 1080, which is, you know, the full size, but only up to 1 megabyte. So did I make a megabyte version of a full graphic? I think I did. Let's do banner RGB background. That should be a full, oh gosh, that's over 1 megabyte. Is that really over 1 megabyte? I could have sworn I had put a smaller. Oh, is it 1 megabyte uncompressed? That's what's happening. This file is 39 kilobytes. Yeah, the RGB dark background file is 39 kilobytes on my computer, but because it's a, oh, that one is, I didn't scale it down. Okay, we're gonna do this. We're gonna fix this. I'm gonna yank this drive out, and I'm gonna replace that file with a proper version. Because I just realized that I had not set that to 1920 1080. It was still the larger background size for YouTube. So we'll fix that. Plug this drive in, pop over to this computer and open it in Photoshop, and then scale it down to 1920 1080. And we'll see if we can get this. Let's just do quick export as PNG. We'll see if we can get this into the switcher. This is going to be called RGB dark background. Replace that file. Okay. And then eject the drive and plug back into this. Now we get to see how this handles the drive being yanked out mid-project. While we're live, no less. Okay. Can I add RGB dark background now? I can. Okay, wonderful. So we're going to add it to the middle. It is taking a while because it's a full, there it goes. I'm going to get rid of all the other ones. And this is preset 1. Oh, did I tap that one? There we go. Preset 1 is now full screen graphic. So if I show you this view, I got multi-view program out. I go to the graphics overlays tab. And then I want to hold down number 1. And there it is. So I was able to, oh, this is interesting. Why is there the little glitchies on the top? Do you see that? I was trying to move my mouse to it like I can point to it with a cursor. At the top of it, there's little glitchies. I don't know what that's about. Do I see it on the... I see it on the screen here too. So if you look at the... if you look at my monitor, which is showing the output from it, I see the little glitchy things up there too. You probably can't see it in that view, but this is the view from that. Weird, super weird. So let's bring that back. Anyway, what I was actually trying to show you here was the doing a cut to a graphic. Axel says that glitch was there before. The glitches were there the whole time. Wait, are they on the... Oh, maybe it's just my HDMI cable. Let's try that. Oh, I see it here too now. It blends in so well. It was just more noticeable once I had a not a video feed. So I'm just gonna reset this cable and see if that fixes it. It's still doing it. I don't know if I'm gonna blame the cast for this. So the reason is because in order for me to do this stream this way, I'm sending this into my SDI converter into the matrix and through the whole chain of stuff in order to get you the view like this. So that's how I'm able to send like my camera to the ATEM as well as into here and send the output into the ATEM so you can see it on the stream, all that kind of stuff. Apparently there is something wrong, and those little, I don't know where those are coming from. Maybe we should try to track it down though, because it is kind of annoying. So glitch is probably the faulty HDMI cable. I could just replace the cable. That's an easy one to try. Although this should be a good HDMI cable because it's relatively new. This says 4K UHD on it, but yeah, we can try a different cable. I think I have one. These are the ones I use with everything else. This is going to that converter. There's a little SDI converter down on the floor. And let's see. Where did it go? Okay, new HDMI cable first. And let's cut to the Atom. Same. Okay. So what I want to do next is try bypassing all of the stuff. And I'm just going to go into a little monitor on the desk. So I have to go grab I'm going to bring the Blackmagic Video Assist because it's battery powered. So I will be right back. Okay. We're going to solve this. So this cable directly into the Blackmagic Video Assist and bypass all of my SDI converters and see how it does. Yeah, look at this. Yep, there we go. Totally clean on that one. So something about it does not like my all my little SDI converters, which is a bummer. Because everything else in here is routed through my SDI converters, and it's just fine. Okay, well, at least we've figured out that it's not necessarily the cast's fault. James says, it's kind of a niche product for an already kind of niche market, but I love this device and I've used it probably for 2 or 3 times a week for the last 3 months. Oh, that's awesome. I'm glad you are getting some good use out of it. Yeah, I agree. It is not for everybody, and it is not necessarily a streaming device, but it is a high quality recording device that lets you do live edits, which is nice. All right. Is that it? Was that the whole demo? I think that's the whole demo. How long have we been streaming? Only 90 minutes. Cool. Super delayed audio now. I don't think so. That would be really weird if that was true. Testing. No, it's fine. It's on the viewing end. Oh, Jonas, the wireless is actually the other one. So the wireless is the multi-view out. So when I show you this feed is coming from the wireless transmitter, not a direct cable. This one is coming from the direct cable. Oh, well, I unplugged it, so it's not anymore. But when I was switching to that input, that was the direct cable, but now it's going into this and it looks clean here. I don't know why the SDI converters are adding that artifact. All right, well, I think that's about it. So unless there's any other questions, we're going to wrap this up. James says, my biggest issue with the cast is the lack of audio mixing. You can't mix or have more than one audio source. Yep, I agree, which is ironic that YoloBox just shipped that in an update this week. So maybe Atomos will update that as well. I like the recording quality. Oh, I did not show the secret code. Okay, so I completely forgot to hide the secret code in the chat, or in the screen this time. So what I'm going to do is just give it to you, and make sure I'm on the right one. And I am going to put it in the chat. For all of you who are hanging on and still with me, the secret code is in the chat now. So if you're watching this on the replay, you will have to enable the chat replay as well. Hint, hint, Atomos. Yes, exactly. Hint, hint. Add an audio mixer so we can have multiple audio sources enabled. Then you could do background music and stuff too. So yeah. All right. That should do it. That should do it. Was there anything else I wanted to mention about this before we are done here? Before I send this on to the next person who's going to look at it. No, I think we covered it. Now I gotta wipe this drive before I send it off. Cool. All right. Thank you all for watching. This was fun. The plan for tomorrow is we are back in my morning, so better time for all of the people in Europe. And tomorrow's stream, we will be going through, like this, all of the features of an ATEM Mini Pro ISO. And the ATEM Mini Pro ISO is something that I actually haven't talked much about lately, because I feel like I've been talking about the Extreme a lot lately. So we're going to kind of go back to the basics and talk about the ATEM Mini Pro ISO from scratch, going through all the features, and should be fun. The schedule is linked already down below. The next video is linked down below, and it's on everything's posted on my channel already. All the placeholders are on my channel, so definitely do go take a look at the channel, and you can see the lineup of the streams. We've got the ATEM Mini Pro tomorrow, my normal show scheduled for Sunday, and on Monday we're going to do a special show and talk more about the whole class of switchers that are the not streaming switchers. So the things like the original ATEM Mini and the ones that are sort of similar to it, but there's some new ones that are popping up that have some interesting features that are a nice stretch beyond just a clone of the original ATEM Mini. So yeah, that'll be fun. And then on Tuesday, I will be breaking out a sparkly jacket and a glass of champagne, and we will chat about whatever you want. I might even tear up my studio. I've been building a new rack of gear over there, so we'll see how much I tear things up before the end of the year. And yeah, all right. Thank you for all of the questions. Thanks for all the super chats. This has been a lot of fun. Always fun to try out these new devices and get a chance to share them with you. So thanks to Atomos for lending this to me to check out on the stream. That was a great opportunity to try this thing out live. And yeah, hopefully you all have a great rest of the day, rest of the week. Enjoy the rest of your video switching devices, and let me know in the comments what you are thinking about buying now that you've had a chance to see several of these this week already. And we will be back tomorrow talking about the ATEM Mini Pro, so I will see you then, and yeah, goodbye.